Hi, I'm Matthew.
Hi, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Bhavik.
Hi, I'm Luke.
And we have the perfect toy for you!
Building toys are very popular these days, and for good reason. They allow the user to create anything they want based on their imagination. So this is why we created the Wonder Car. It's a car unlike other toys on the market, for it allows the user to create anything that they imagine by putting different pieces on the car.
Designed for ages 3 to 10, the two primary functions that can be performed by the toy, including driving the car with one's hands and assembling the car by connecting different magnet pieces to the magnet base, allowing the user to create his or her own unique design according to his or her imagination.
Fundamentals of universal design stand by the inclusion of all persons. We designed the toy by these principles and effectively made our target audience any child from the age of 3 to 10. We tested this market by implementing a survey and researching similar products to ours. We found that children were interested in toys that were both mobile and customizable. Thus, we present you with our car.
This prototype is made from the finest polylactic acid or PLA that one can have. This vehicle is made up of a few parts: axles, wheels, and a body, as well as the outside attachments and the magnets used to attach them, as shown here. What makes this unique is the magnets that allow other components to be attached to the car to allow children to explore their imagination. Children could get different parts to attach the car from different Happy Meals. For example, you could attach the code for a drill bit on the front, like so. But with imagination, on the top, it can be used as a party hat. But wait, there's more. Another attachment is a propeller hat that children can imagine as just like a fun hat, or something to make the car fly. The car itself is small enough to play with, but big enough not to be a choking hazard. We would still have a warning label for children under 3 years of age because the attachments are small. Overall, this car is great for children of any age and allows them to explore their imagination with an array of different scenarios.
The design of this toy is rather simple. The base of the car is made from a single piece of plastic that can easily be molded or 3D printed. The simplicity of our design means it can easily be scaled up to be mass produced. This toy has several different pieces that can be attached to the body by use of magnets. We chose magnets because it allows the car to be customized and lets the child play with the toy in whatever way they want. Also, we won't have any issues with intellectual property since the design cannot be patented due to the fact it's obvious.
Having a design that is inclusive for different children is a major desire for our product. The universal design principle that helped this cause especially was the principle of equitable use, which states that the user should be able to use this product despite their abilities. An example of this in our product was the dimensions of our car. Although wanting to have the car to be cost efficient to make, we also wanted the car to be of certain dimensions that were comfortable for different hand sizes.
Other universal design principles used in our product include low physical effort, size and space for approach and use, and a simple and intuitive design. These universal principles allow for a diverse amount of children to be able to use the toy, regardless of whether or not they have much strength or are able to play with it due to illness or handicap, allowing for children with limited space available to play to use the toy, and also helping the function of the toy to be well understood to mentally challenged users by clearly having the magnets stand out on the car.
Initially, a color code was thought to be a viable option to help this understandability. However, in order to preserve the user to create what he or she wanted, as opposed to having the user confined to what a simple color code specified, we decided to simply make the magnets stand out in view. Unfortunately, as with most products, there was a trade-off between design considerations and cost. For example, it was desired to have a sound-emitting device, some sort, mechanism, on the car so that when the car was driven, sound would be, emitted, and that children with hearing loss or other hearing issues could also enjoy the toy. However, due to time and financial cost associated with this complexity, it was decided against pursuing this design consideration.
The team has also completed a task analysis in order to figure out the potential issues with the design of the toy in order to avoid such issues in the final manufacturing process. It showed how our design may have taken taken some assumptions about children's knowledge of the uses of the toy. For example, do all children know how magnets work? Would the car be too small for larger hands? Would the user actually be able to make unique designs?
This analysis helped people of different hand sizes to effectively use the toy and to allow people with special needs to easily understand the use of the toy.
Besides all of this, unfortunately, a decision needs to be made at some point to know whether the design is inclusive enough. You know, whether it's not physically possible due to the limitations of the engineering and to the cost associated with making a product and manufacturing a product, whether it's not possible to do any more to it. The task analysis allowed the group to address the size of the car. Okay, so we, as mentioned earlier, we made the decision to have the certain size that was comfortable for different hands. This helped the issue of stifling the imagination also of different users by allowing the car to be big enough so that different pieces can be put around it in different places as opposed to one, small, car that couldn't really have that much different, designs to it. And also the task analysis raised the awareness of the color code and the issues with visualization and understandability of the use of the product. However, this was addressed by our deciding to not have a color code that would force the users to know where to put the different pieces. Instead of that, we had just let's make the magnets visible enough so that users can understand that, okay, this is a place to put a different piece.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed playing with this toy as much as we had fun designing it.
We hope that our simple and universal design means you can play with this car no matter who you are.